maybe we're live. I'm still being an idiot. Good evening, everyone. I'm an idiot.
So you're just an idiot live instead of an idiot because we're not live.
Right, that's the
Actually,
idea.
hold on. I'm being an idiot.
Anyway, I am Emperor Bugle, and yes, I am being onset by a plague of allergies at the moment. I do apologize.
I am
Yeah,
Grandpa's, and I feel for your pain, Bugle. Allergies are the worst.
yes, they snuck up on me. I didn't expect them in Colorado for some reason.
I'm Big Cheese.
And the ever angry Uracat, who is not sorry about allergies.
Wow, that's cold.
Well,
So I hear there's a few changes that have taken place to this game that we love to hate and hate to hate and all of that.
change. I don't like change.
Oh!
Ah,
I hear they turned all the ponies.
they all have two legs and
Yeah,
hands.
Please don't give them ideas.
And also, Sunset Shimmer is now... Wait, hold on.
Sunset Shimmer is now.
I don't know. Does it really matter? We already made the Equestria Girls reference. I think that's good enough.
Yeah, that's true. We did. Well,
Anyway,
we are glad to have many of you here, and I'm sure more of you will be joining us here as the stream continues. We wanted to give you just a brief outline of the plan for tonight, and then we'll jump right into things. So we will tonight be talking about, of course, these two big changes, which are dilemmas and the change to how problem bonus points are scored. We'll discuss the impact of these changes, go into a lot of players' concerns on what this could mean for the game, because as we are all human, we all hate change. And then just a few of the additional changes in the comprehensive rules update pending the Set 7 update. And then we've got some exciting news towards the end of it.
yeah, yeah. There are other changes as well. Like Grandpa said, they're just not quite as, shall we say, dramatic.
And if there's one thing we know that the MLP fandom loves, it's drama.
oh yes. Drama and salt.
This
Mostly drama.
game was built on drama and salt.
I thought it was built on rock and roll.
No, that's this city.
Oh, my mistake.
This game was built on pen and mat.
That too.
Anyway, so we have two very, very, very big changes incoming in Set 7. One of which is a card trait, I guess we should say, and the other one is a rules change. So which should we bring up first?
Well, I think the dilemmas came into the public eye first, so let's start with those.
Sure, that seems good. Dilemmas are a new type of resource that we've seen. Dilemmas provide options for players to be able to basically create new problems over the course of a game. When
But you didn't have enough already.
Hey, I had 99 problems, but dilemmas weren't one.
Well, great. Now you have 102.
Woo! So far. So, dilemmas, when in any zone other than in play, are just considered resources. They are not considered problems. However, dilemmas have an action token cost, a color requirement, and power, just like other cards would in your deck. When you play a dilemma, it ceases becoming a resource and instead becomes a problem that has the dilemma trait. This problem has confront requirements for each players and often additional abilities as well. It has a bonus point, which becomes a little bit differently relevant, which we'll get into here in a moment. And it allows players to now start things affectionately referred to as fracases or multi-problem face-offs. Bugle, you want to talk a bit about that?
Actually, right before that, when you were discussing that, an interesting question occurred to me that you didn't cover.
Sure.
Do they still have power while they are in play?
I believe they lose all of their... I believe they lose their power trait while they are in play.
Their power, their cost, and their...
Yes, I believe they just
requirement?
become a problem at that point in time.
Okay.
Oh, that could have been funny.
Now there will be more information coming in the comprehensive rules update with set 7. These changes were mostly
Right.
revealed early so that players could have time to adjust their strategies and
Build decks, etc.
and panic.
So it's not a surprise,
Right.
which I absolutely agree. Having it be a surprise would have been, well, a
Worse.
reason to ignore the helpful advice that we are displaying to you through our picture here.
Yes, indeed.
So
So what does this mean for the game overall?
I thought we were going to discuss
Right.
the other one.
Right. As far as just general rules here first, there is something we want to know about dilemmas and the multi-problem face-offs. So now a situation has come up where there can be more than 2 problems in play at a time. In fact, dilemmas are not unique to players. So a player can, in theory, have any number of dilemmas in play simultaneously.
Assuming there is only 1 dilemma per color, the max number of problems that can be in play right now is 58. I hope you guys are ready for your 58 tuple face-offs.
That's a lot of problems.
It's not 99 though, so
No,
It's not.
It's just over half of that. So, and yes, Lunatic, that is a good
There's
point.
a-
58 problems does make Flutterbat a little bit better.
Wow, stealth buff.
So, the new rules change going forward is whenever a player is simultaneously confronting 2 or more problems, whether those problems are true problems that were in that player's problem deck to begin with, or whether they were dilemmas played by either player, or some combination thereof, there is now a multi-problem face-off that takes place, or a fracas.
I prefer multi-problem face-off myself.
The suggestion was raised for ruckus as well, but there was a bit of a debate there.
Oh man, these are words that just don't get a living outside of newspapers.
I like ruckus a lot more than fracas myself.
Eh,
But anyway,
I
anyway,
prefer kerfluffle.
Kerfluffle's pretty good as well.
Kerflufflepuff?
Ah,
Oops. And we're done.
so when a multi-problem face-off takes place, and this is interesting to note, all characters at all problems, not just the problems that were confronted, become involved in that face-off. And at the
Yes.
end of that face-off, all problems, not just those that were confronted, are replaced. Unless
Some
they are
of you are
dilemmas.
sitting here and going, wait, how do I replace a dilemma? Well, it turns out you don't. They just get dismissed.
That is correct.
No, are they dismissed or are they just
That's a good-
resolved?
They are dismissed by the game. When a dilemma
Okay.
would become solved or replaced, instead, I believe it is dismissed by the game, and all
Okay.
characters are sent home.
Now, a
That's-
brief note for a couple of you that are sitting there going, I've got cards that can prevent that. No, actually, you don't. Actions that the game engine itself takes cannot be prevented or replaced.
Also,
for
remember,
those-
dilemmas lose their resource typing while they are in play, so nothing would stop, or you can't interact
Yes.
with them as you would a resource.
So Silver Spanner does not work. And
Nope.
similarly, you can't confuse the game by having friends stay at the problem because it will. If a friend exists at a location that no longer exists, it will be sent home. So
By
if-
the game.
Right, by the game. So if you have Joe Sticky Glaze and you're going, aha, now he's just sitting here at this non-existent problem, that doesn't quite work. It would be funny, but it doesn't work.
So, hats off to trying to break the game. I can definitely respect that, as I'm sure most of us can.
Yeah. I did bring up the unique issue, and I don't think you guys had thought of that.
It had been discussed. There will be further changes coming to the comprehensive rules. This was just a first pass.
Fair enough.
But let's talk about the other change that has everyone flailing their arms like apple bloom. Let's talk about problem bonuses.
Problem bonuses. Ah, yes. So, this is probably, I would say, of the 2 changes, this is the bigger change, which is...
That's quite an understatement.
Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yes, this will drastically affect how the game is played. Not necessarily for the better, not necessarily for the worse. We're hoping for the better. Our playtesters, which include grandpas,
Hello.
have gone through this and given it their seal of approval. Admittedly, things have slipped through the cracks before.
Don't. We're not talking about that.
But I have faith that this will be a positive change overall. So what exactly is the change? It's actually not quite a change, it is a removal of a rule. Specifically the rule that says the first player to confront a problem scores its bonus points. That's no longer going to happen. The first person to confront a problem scores exactly 1 point. The second player to confront a problem scores exactly 1 point. If people are confronting a problem simultaneously, face-offs continue as per normal, and that is the only time that bonus points will come into play, aside from your RTO shenanigans.
Well, and a few other pieces as well, but RTO-like shenanigans.
Well, there are cards that reduce bonus to 0, but nothing else actually cares. Except for Applejack. But she only cares about face-offs, so again.
Yes.
Business as usual there.
Correct. So, this is a rather monumental
Needless
change.
to say, this has caused a little bit of war garbling.
Yes, and for those unaware, the definition of war garbling is the sound a dog makes when it tries to bite the water coming from a sprinkler.
I was unaware of this.
Yes.
It's true. Webster's defines.
Yeah. But yes, But yes, this is a big change. Dilemmas is also a big change. When both of these were revealed, there was a lot of chicken littling going about.
Different kinds of chicken littling, too.
Including kinds that drastically contradicted each other.
Each other, yes.
There have been a lot of concerns about this, like you say, and we are going to do our best to address most of these concerns. But first, I'd like to issue a disclaimer. Though we will be discussing these changes, some of the things we'll be discussing are speculative. I am, I believe, the only one currently here right now that has had a chance to actually play with these updated rules and cards from Set 7 and test them together. So I will offer my personal experience and that of the other playtesters in our local group. However, that was still within a relatively limited time frame, so there is room for things to change in the future. We are doing our best to give you this information because we'd like to have as much transparency as possible.
Right, and there's just a lot of chaos going about right now, and we're hoping, to show why some of that is just completely unfounded. This happens anytime there's a major change in anything, but a lot of the time, and we're claiming, including this time, a lot of the doomsaying is just that. It's just an inaccurate prediction.
Let's actually have a little fun with that. Let's have a little role-playing exercise here. I believe you all have concerns that have either been voiced by the community or yourselves, and so in your best Chicken Little voice, let's go through those and see what we can talk about in the context of these changes.
We did have a brief question in chat that's probably worth addressing.
Yes, the question regarding scoring bonus points after a multi-problem face-off. It is the highest of all problems in play because all characters at all problems are involved.
And then, of course, the natural question of, so, what happens if more than one problem has or is tied for highest bonus?
That's only relevant with Applejack discorded in play.
And pending Set 7 rules update, perhaps. We'll see. We could be doing...
Scootaloo impressions. Yeah,
yes.
No.
So, Scootaloo little impressions.
What if I want to be a dictionary?
Little.
Cripes. Anyway, let's see who is. Let us read these questions that are totally written on these cards in front of us.
Yes.
So I think
thumb through them all.
Cheese should
You
go
just want
first.
to go in order? Okay. So, what happens with combo? Like, everyone's slower now.
And if everyone's slower, then that means like combo's got more time to build up and go off, right?
Yeah. So this is a concern lots of people have. I kind of share this concern a bit. I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think. I also think that Nico actually made a really good point in his discussion about this, which is like the truly like non-interactive decks that just aren't beatable, except for by like super specific cards. Interplay will deal with them, and that this will open up probably some combos that actually weren't really viable before, but it'll be looked out for.
Right. Though combo hasn't necessarily been hurt by these changes, and I know that's something that a lot of people cry for is bring the ban hammer down. We are still, of course, watching and testing and aware of the decks that are out there and what's going on for the most part. And we want this game to be as healthy as you do. So if combo continues to present problems, that is what the ban list is there for. And otherwise, we will continue business as usual. If you have tricks that are going to deal with combo, in some cases they will continue to be efficient. You might just want to make sure you get them out there a little bit faster.
Right. For the last couple of sets, especially High Magic, I would say, there have been several cards that help interact with combo. For example, Bewitched Beavers, Rest in Pieces, Prince Rutherford, who is still one of my favorite cards from the set, even though I don't even play blue. These cards, which are just generally worth running in the first place, can help dissuade combo already. So there are becoming more and more good cards that are also anti-combo cards. So while yes, combo might benefit from these rules changes, they'll still be more interactive than they have been in the past, and that's an important thing as well to keep in mind.
Like to point out that it's actually not doesn't completely ignore this, because for example, Pile of Presents, which you can play as combo or aggro or mid range or whatever really you want to do, it kind of is affected. Some of the win conditions you actually do try to like snips and snails and then just get a whole bunch of points additionally that turn that you'll need. You can no longer do that. It also at the very beginning of the game slows combo down a little bit because your opponent it's like they confront a problem and now you're not getting your 3 AT. You're getting 2 AT.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean it does kind of kill the fire when ready combo.
Very
yes,
unfortunate.
The Fire Ready combo is very sad now.
Because that was so dominant before.
Yes.
No.
Oh, of course it was. It was completely broken. Like, ban this card right now.
So you're right. That is a concern that's been addressed, and hopefully that gives players a little bit of clarity as to what we would expect going forward. What else have we heard as far as worries?
Bugle.
Let's see. That would be I'm next. Okay. So the biggest worry I've seen is people not complaining. People are afraid that by reducing the number of points gained early on, games will take longer. So on the surface, this looks true. I've expressed these concerns myself. However, I've talked with a few people about it. Some people who have insight on this kind of thing, and some people who have actually played with the new rules. And in their opinion, the games haven't actually taken much longer. And the reason for that is because people don't have to decide, should I confront this turn or not? The answer is yes, you should always confront. Confronting is almost always in your advantage now, as opposed to before, where sometimes it would be, well, if I confront and do a double face-off, then the opponent can come back and confront and do their own double face-off, and they'll just be scads points further ahead than I was, and that's just not a good thing. We might see the return of 3 bonus point problems, more people playing 2 bonus point problems outside of RTO decks. Stuff like that can help speed the game along, since they're a lot less risky, especially against control decks who will be intentionally not running these high bonus problems because they want to slow the game down. But if you're running the higher bonus problem, you can speed it up to a speed more to your liking as an aggro player. So will games slow down? Probably a little bit in the beginning as people are getting used to it, but when people get used to the mentality of starting face-offs equals good, I think we will see a change in the mentality here. Or not in the mentality, in the speed here.
I agree with you. Having tested this as well, the initial hurdle to overcome is, well, how do I play now? What's my new thought process? Because now you kind of have to relearn a few things, and that's not a bad thing if it makes the game healthier overall. But it does slow things down a little bit at the beginning. However, once you overcome that initial hurdle, once you begin to understand the new flow of the game, which does feel much smoother and actually encourages you to be paying attention to problems and also brings back quite a few cards, which we'll talk about in a moment, that now not only become viable but very, very good. The overall speed of the game has not decreased much, or has not increased much, I should say. And a lot of that is also due to people just finding tools that now work. In the same way that when a new set releases, you're not going to play the exact same deck list you were the set before. When a major rules change like this goes through, you're going to adapt your deck to that. And there's a few cards that immediately come to mind. Anyone ideas?
Darn,
Premier
I
Spike?
can't possibly think of who.
I feel like there's a
Premier
card. I feel like something, I don't know what it is.
Something kind of outrageous.
Not just kind of outrageous.
One might say truly, truly outrageous.
One might, indeed.
And possibly overpowering, too.
Could be the case. Maybe. Could be overpowering. Mostly at night. Yes, cards that are going to provide you with alternate methods or point acceleration, including rarity truly outrageous, all of a sudden become stupendous again. So I hope people held on to their RTOs, because they're sticking around. And Night Glider continues to be a valuable card for blue, although blue is hurt somewhat by some of their problems not giving them that high bonus point on confront.
Yeah. This incidentally is a good segue into our next little piece of discussion here, which, well, with all this stuff about the bonus points, how am I going to get mad points out of doing DFOs every turn? I want to be able to sit here and do an 11-point turnaround on like 2.5 AT.
Oh, so you're playing combo.
Well, okay, shush. But my Luna is sad, and so are all of my blue cards, and so are some of my white cards, and all of my yellow cards, and...
No, don't be sad. It's fine. It's K. Just eat some oranges, it will be K. You want to talk about this a bit, or go into...
So, yeah, the core of this argument here is, well, with the problem bonuses not being scored on first confronts anymore, that's... Given the makeup of most aggro decks, that's a lot of points. The white-pink deck that Bugle has posted in the past, known as Organized Chaos, as well as a lot of Bluna builds, seem like they're going to be hurt pretty bad here, because you can't pull a 5-point turn 2 DFO anymore.
Nope, just 3.
Well, yes, with single-point problems.
Yeah.
Well, on turn 2, you're assuming single point problems. To be fair.
They generally are single-point problems.
Generally they have been, but that's only because 3 bonus point starter problems from Premier are also very difficult to confront and previously were very risky. But hey, now it's not as bad.
Yeah. So the thing here is I think this actually ends up helping aggro for a couple of reasons. You can sit here and you can cause a double problem face-off without worrying too much about the consequences of what your opponent's going to do next turn. In the context of dilemmas, you can sit there and go, well, that's a nice chrysalis you've got there. It'd be a shame if I just completely ignored that. 50 power grumps? Oh well. And so this gives you an opportunity to not have to worry about very severe blockers. Carbo Loader doesn't actually, keep you from confronting if the troublemaker isn't relevant. Granted, you might lose the face-off, but that's a topic for, later, because you were going to lose that face-off anyway.
That's true. And you're right. The introduction of dilemmas alongside this rules change is definitely a wise decision, as even though aggro would normally be hurt just a baseline by this change, having additional options for problems that weren't open before at the start of that turn means that they will have many ways not only of being able to trigger face-offs to score additional points that way, but clear offensive troublemaker walls as well.
Yes, confronting any two problems will start a multi-problem face-off, and if there happen to be face-up troublemakers in any of those problems, they'll go away.
Oh, so, darn.
This is a kind of roundabout way of TM busting, but it does TM bust.
No, that does sound... Sorry, go ahead.
There is one other thing here. Nico's article does call out that this makes aggro versus aggro games much more interesting. Personally, I'm kind of interested to see what this does to limited formats. Given that one of the things that Interplay has said they're going to be producing is a pack basically dedicated for draft, I could see this getting fun.
Yeah, in place of the theme decks for set 7.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very interested in limited with these changes and with the new set with dilemmas.
Yeah, especially since the typically, this wasn't 100% the case, but typically the correct strategy in limited was try to prevent your opponent from scoring 1 point and then score 1 point a turn and never start a problem face-off, because problem face-offs just weren't worth it.
The risk of turning around and instantly losing about 4 points lead is just too great. Now, personally, I had great fun doing this because I just sat there and went, okay, I'm going to run Rainbow and Swift and cause DFOs, and you're never going to catch up.
Oh, sure.
But that's just me.
And I mean, if you had Night Glider at that point in time, you might be able to justify a change like that. But it's important.
Well, if you
Sorry, go ahead.
If you're talking about Night Glider and Limited, you already won the draft.
I didn't realize we were still talking Limited, but yes, that's true.
Limited.
Now, it is important to know that certain types of aggro decks aren't really impacted by this too much. In fact, I'm not even sure that Luna is dramatically hurt by this rules change taken alone and alongside dilemmas. Because Luna was often capable of triggering a DFO the turn immediately after all their stuff was sent back home, through things like Winged Wonder and Wildfire, and honestly, Luna just being able to be moved for free. So,
Best princess.
I mean, true story. So, apart from losing
Cadence
a few
has
points...
no point here.
So, apart from losing a few points off of confronting initially, it really hasn't slowed that particular style of deck down that much. Other aggro decks, things like Octavia, might be a little more hurt by that, but again, they're running white, so they've got access to RTO, and that's coming back. It's also good to know...
I mean, she didn't really leave, let's be honest here.
She left compared to where she was.
Darling, I never leave. I'm simply fabulous.
I thought you were outrageous. And this brings up a good point, is aggro suddenly gets the ability to run more aggressive problems from Premier that previously were just too risky, especially with ways of abusing problem bonus with RTO. The 2-point and 3-point problems that we used to see, like Kitchen au Flambe and other cards along those lines, suddenly become very, very good again.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how true that is. I predict that's very true, but there's the possibility that it will still wind up being risky, if you can't reliably start face-offs that you can win for whatever reason, say in a very carbo loader heavy format.
That's
Well,
true.
fortunately, there's a certain card in white, something about apples, that might address that concern.
Apples.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about AJ discorded? Yeah. So, oh, look, you're running a 3 bonus problem. Let me just... And blue and white have tricks to move things around. Granted, they're not ones that have seen play, but they have tricks.
Yes, they do. And who knows what could be coming for the set.
Actually, that's a pretty funny combo. Run a 3-point problem, start a face-off with your own Applejack
Literally
discorded
don't
there.
care
Yeah, you
whether
don't care
you
if
win
you
or
win or
lose.
lose. You're getting 3 points.
That is rather funny. But on
Go ahead,
the
Carbo
flip
Loader.
side of this aggro change, or these concerns about aggro, there's concerns about other archetypes as well. And these were actually some of my biggest concerns initially upon testing this, and that was, wait, dilemmas? You mean there's a nigh infinite number of problems? I know it's 58, whatever, that can be in play at one point in time? How am I ever going to get my hard wall photo finish control deck to work? Control is dead, and it wasn't even good to begin with. Why? And then I tore my hair and my robes and sackcloth and rubbed
And
myself with ash.
wailing and gnashing of the teeth. And
Yes, exactly. All of that. And the truth of the matter is, it's not nearly as bad as it seems. Yes, hard wall control decks have taken a dramatic hit with the introduction of dilemmas. And that is just a progression of how control is going to play. Control as a whole is now going to play more like Taxes did in Premiere, in my personal experience and opinion, though of course things could change. In that they will try to present obstacles that are difficult for the opponent to overcome, but are not simply hiding behind these obstacles. They're making aggressive momentum forward, confronting behind non-epic troublemakers and otherwise trying to take advantage of cards like RTO or Standstill or things like that to keep the problems where they like them. Photo Finish may not have her spectacular time in the limelight, but she's not gone, and neither is white or purple as far as control options.
Yeah, a very important thing to remember is that a large portion of purple control right now, while the troublemakers are an important factor, they are not the only factor. The major thing right now, in my opinion, is the immediate events. And immediate events work at any problem.
That's right, and we still have several events that continue to see play from even older sets. Cutie Pox Scare is still seeing fringe play in control decks.
Cutie Pox Scare, Popping Corn, all of this stuff. The stuff that events that prevent confronting, whether they're immediate or not, are still effective regardless of how many problems there are. Now, yes, if they are confronting 3 problems simultaneously, you're going to have a hard time. But your goal should be to prevent that from being feasible.
If only there was a card that somehow restricted the number of problems that could be confronted in a turn.
Are you talking about those brothers? The Flimity Flamities?
I might be talking about the Flimity Flamities. Yeah, all of a sudden, Control has a bit of a shift in which card or which colorless friend it's going to typically play in order to try to slow down the opponent's point acceleration. Aoizodal Oppressive still remains a viable choice against combo decks and otherwise just blowout decks, but I believe the primary colorless friend is now going to be Flim and Flam, just to ensure that dilemmas don't actually allow people to break through a troublemaker wall.
Right. And yes, Flim and Flame is a counter to dilemmas, but aggro decks frequently have counters to friends as well. Your Dressed Ups, your Prince Rutherfords. So we've got a whole check and balance thing going on here.
And this is healthy, and this is important. It's taken a while to get to this point, and there's still room to grow. But the point is the game is moving forward, and it's not cause for, as Ara says, the wailing and the gnashing of teeth.
Yeah,
So-
I will note that for players against Control, those games where you're dealing with a really hard lockdown deck, you probably weren't having a lot of fun there anyway. because you're just sitting there slamming your head against the wall going, this isn't falling, I can't do anything, I can't find my epic wins, there's wake-up calls everywhere, I can't... Well, fortunately, those are harder to do now.
Yes.
Yes. They're not impossible, but they are much harder, and I think with the addition of new cards to the card pool and these rules changes, we'll see a bit of a shift in the style of play. But as always, time will tell.
So, to recap, combo, yes, maybe it got a little better, but probably not as drastic as people think. Aggro has to change its style, but definitely not dead. Control, same thing. It might have to change its style a little bit, but it's not dead. Epic farming, well, I don't think epic farming is too terribly affected by this. Maybe the dilemmas will affect it a little bit if they're not clever, because dilemmas can force them home, and then the troublemaker goes away, and so on and so forth. But again, Flim and Flam helps with that situation as well. So I think all 4 of these major archetypes still exist and are in a better place than they were before, except maybe combo, where the Magic 8 Ball is still a little hazy on combo, but I think we can predict that it will be at best a little bit better. Not, oh my god, this is the only archetype left.
Right.
Well, the thing with the Magic 8 Ball is that it does have a hammer hanging over it. If this stuff gets oppressive, Interplay has options. They aren't afraid to use them. They've used them more than once.
That's
That
right.
too.
So apart from concerns about the archetypes, I know there's always more worries that are present, and one of them was in regard to this new card type dilemmas and how they are specifically, a very unique style of card that's coming in rather late into the game, in that we're at the end, effectively, of the second block here. So, how am I supposed to explain this to a brand new player?
Yeah, there's been a lot of comments. Like, the game is not exactly easy to learn in the first place. And this, for a lot of new players, this is just going to add another level of, oh, great, what's that? I don't know. What do?
Well, to be perfectly honest, you probably just should not be bringing dilemmas into the picture with new players. I'm personally of the opinion that you shouldn't even be bringing troublemakers into the equation with new players. Have them understand problems, moving, requirements, and all of that stuff. The core stuff that is necessary to play a game, explain that first, and then build from there. Once you've introduced all of that stuff, then you can introduce the troublemakers, and then later you can start introducing the more advanced concepts like dilemmas and, I don't know.
Combo.
Much later.
Yeah.
Well, what to watch out for anyway. It's stuff like, if you see that, you should probably play this.
Right. Here's what this card might signal. Exactly.
So-
that sort of thing.
So yes, there is the potential for overload, but there's the potential for overload in anything that has a lot of moving parts. And the solution is, and always has been, introduce parts slowly. You don't throw someone into a CEO position who has never worked a day in their life. That's just dumb. You have to build up and explain how resource management works, how, to understand customers and so on and so forth. You have to iterate, and then you can become the CEO. Maybe this isn't the most accurate example, but I think you get my point. You don't start with the most complex stuff. You start with the basic stuff and work up.
Now, Cursive Chords brings up a point in chat that once upon a time you didn't have to take a 3-week course to learn the game. I would argue that's only true because the game was physically impossible to learn based on the rule books that were initially printed. And over time, as the rules have become adjusted and the comprehensive rules have, actually come into being, things have gotten better and better over time. In regards to the problem bonus point change, future introductory product, such as theme decks, 2-player starter sets, things along those lines where you'd normally get a rulebook, will address this change. So for newer players who are looking at getting into the game after this point in time, they will have the tools handed to them to be able to learn these new rules.
It's also, I think, simpler the actual way it works with the rule change is simpler and easier to understand. And it's like the way that people play, it's like, oh wait, you don't actually want to confront here because it's bad. It's like, no, actually, now it's good.
It's easier to teach both from a strategy perspective because, like, brand new players learn how to play aggro first and foremost. And telling them that, no, that thing that we just told you to do, don't do that. That doesn't help. That's confusing. And from the problem bonus perspective, I've had a lot of players that's learning to play that didn't understand that they were supposed to get that as well, but only the first time you confront it, and in the end, it removes a couple of things that they might not remember.
Yeah. The rule changes definitely make it easier. It was the dilemmas that possibly make it harder to explain.
And I think overall, as long as the description for dilemmas in the explanation material of whatever set they come in is relatively clear, it'll be fine. Also, the update to the comprehensive rules will allow people to have a very solid understanding of exactly how dilemmas function and don't function. Although, with the change to the problem bonus rules, I predict a severe lack of pony minifigs sitting on problems now.
Yes. This is true. We no longer... On the other hand, you no longer need to do that bookkeeping, which is probably for the best, even if it doesn't require ponies. And you can always just put ponies on your problems anyway.
I mean, you can. There's no reason not to. There is a reason not to. Don't put ponies on your problems, kids.
You know what? That's right. I'm sad.
Save your blind bag money. Use it on cards.
No, I think I need to go buy more Fluttershy plushes. Like, there's still breathing room here.
So, there's a lot of change here. And people don't like change. In fact, people kind of go a little bit crazy every time there is change. It's doom and gloom and the sky is falling and the game will never be the same and the game is disastrous and the game was always terrible and it was so good back in the day. But this isn't really unique to the My Little Pony CCG. It might be unique in terms of the amount of crying out that we hear about this, but it's certainly not unique in terms of players' reactions. Someone want to elaborate on that?
Okay, so I'll take this first. Many of the older players before the comprehensive rules came out might remember back in the day when RDW roamed the earth and Taxes was the scary monster in the corner. Back in those days, when a double problem face-off happened, face-up troublemakers were not removed from the problems they were on. The problems underneath them rotated, but everything still moved home. So this gave you a bizarre aggro control option where the correct answer was actually to double trouble and then just start causing double problem face-offs as fast as possible. Your opponent literally cannot touch the troublemakers. This was back before troublemaker busters existed. You don't have Epic Win, you don't have Snips and Snails. It is if this situation happens, you lose. The comprehensive rules change this so that troublemakers go away when problems are replaced. And I think this is a change that a lot of players would agree was better for the health of the game.
Yes, absolutely. I don't ever want to go back to that original situation. That was just bad for everyone involved. It wasn't fun because the most viable answer was my opponent is not allowed to do anything ever, and it was the only viable answer essentially.
Mm-hmm. We might look back on Premiere with rose-tinted glasses, but on second thought, it is a silly place. Let us not go there.
Yes. So, but this isn't so. So first off, like Hara said, this isn't the first time this has happened in ponies, and like Grandpa's has mentioned before, this is something that happens in CCGs and in fact games all around. Let's look at the granddaddy Magic the Gathering, right? Magic the Gathering has had to go through several dozens of massive changes, right? The stack, not originally a thing. Damage on the stack was a thing, and they removed it because it was counterintuitive. The legend rule changed multiple times, and almost all of these changes have been fought initially. And
Mana burn, on and on
yeah,
and on.
mana burn.
The
Yeah,
new
all of
mulligan
these
rule,
things.
this one was within the last year.
But yeah, all of these things were fought. People did not like them. They were like, well, that's not how the game is. And then they got their hands on it, and they played it, and they said, wait, why wasn't this what we were doing in the first place? Now, some of them, I can't think of any offhand, but some of them may have been a mistake. For example, the whole damage on the stack thing was a bad part of the stack. So sometimes there are unintended consequences, but usually changes help the game out. And Morrow actually did a speech, Morrow being Mark Rosewater, who is one of the great designers for Magic right now, very good guy. He recently did a speech at a game designers conference where he talks about 20 lessons he learned, and lesson 13 particularly is of importance to us here right now. Lesson 13 is, let me pull that up real fast. Make the fun part also the correct strategy to win. The way that a lot of people, most people will tell you that the most fun part of games is in ponies is the face-offs, because you don't quite necessarily know who's going to win. There might be chaos effects and so on and so forth. Starting face-offs is usually fun. There are a lot of cards that reward you for winning face-offs and so on and so forth. So,
unfortunately, the
yes.
current state of the game is that causing face-offs is generally not the correct answer if you want to win.
Right. You start a double problem face-off, you score 2 points, one for each problem, and then maybe, let's say, 2 points for the highest
somewhere
bonus.
between 0 and 3 more points.
Right.
Sure.
Now, if the opponent has the opportunity to double face-off immediately, they can get 2 points, one for each problem, then points equal to bonus A, points equal to bonus B, and then, most likely, points equal to whichever one of those was the highest. Usually that number is a lot more than the number you just got. So, because you took action, you helped your opponent. That is counterintuitive. The thing that you want to do helps them, not good. So, the change that we have now makes it, when you start a face-off, you're going to win the bonus, so you want to start face-offs. And the opponent will get exactly as many points as you, or less, depending on whether or not they can do the DFO. Maybe they'll get more if a higher bonus was flipped, but typically it won't be the massive blowout that it was before. So this change embodies that lesson, the lesson 13 of making the fun the correct way to win, as opposed to making fun the way to lose, which is what we had before.
And we should drop a link to that. If you're interested, if you know Mark Rosewater at all, this is definitely worth a look.
Absolutely. We'll make sure to post that in the chat, Google, if you
Yeah,
want to go
I'll
ahead and do that.
toss that in chat right now. It is a video, so don't watch it right now.
I'm not going to say we're more important than Mark Rosewater, but Mark Rosewater will be there for a while.
We are more relevant right now.
Yes, we
Listen to us, our adoring fans.
Yes, feed us your love. We're not changelings.
Oh, wait, sorry.
That one
I'm
just
supposed to do that right now.
That one just sneak out there.
No, that was something boiling over. Yes, that's what that was.
Yes, of course. Now, it's important to know, as Bugle and Aracat, and I'm sure Cheese would agree as well, this is going to lead toward a more logical progression of play as far as when someone is taught the rules of the game and then how they begin playing as they start to get more competitive. Previously, as Bugle mentioned, when you teach a new player the game, they typically learn aggro first because it was the easiest thing to learn. I play friends, these friends give power, power gives me confronts, confronts gives me face-offs, face-offs give me points. Very logical.
Yay, points.
Yay, points. Everyone likes points. However, aggro for the longest time actually was just the worst strategy as far as your chances of being able to win a game. If you were playing competitively and you played aggro for several sets, you were just unintentionally or intentionally gimping yourself because of how the trade would go for being able to confront fresh problems. Now, players will not only be able to learn the game in a logical progression, but can continue to grow their skills in a progression as well. Aggro will continue to be viable, and the play style will be similar to what people learn at the beginning, instead of having to completely relearn the idea of this face-off chicken.
Right. We don't need to embrace the monk philosophy of to learn, first you must unlearn everything you know. That's not what we want for a game. Maybe a religion, sure, but not not how you should be learning or teaching ponies.
What was that about Best Princess?
Cadence?
Praise the sun?
Luna? Wait,
No. Lunar Empire for life.
Cheese isn't here to just be like Twilight, except I know he hates her wings, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
did Cheese? Oh, there he is.
No, I'm here.
Cheese is sleepy.
I am.
So there's a few additional changes we want to cover here. We've talked for quite a while about these dilemmas and these problem face-off bonus changes, and I hope people understand our insight on why, well, we're not setting all our cards ablaze and ducking for cover. I think things are going to be fine. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period, but we've had that before, and it'll probably come again at some point in time. Now, that being said, there were a few other rules changes that we've seen in this early leak, and a few of them are quite nice. The first of which is just some basic housekeeping, cleaning up the Set 7 rules, removing bits that aren't relevant anymore, changing numbers, and generally setting up for rules to be put in place for how dilemmas work. And that's because dilemmas are a new, relatively complex card type, and they will probably need several mentions. Yes. Sorry, trait.
Card trait.
Sorry, card trait.
They do not power up your mods.
No, they don't. Dilemma is not a card type. Thank you, Google, for correcting me on that.
Combo Crew will find a way to dismiss a problem sooner or later.
No, you
Mark
won't.
my words.
No, you won't, because I am actively undermining your every move.
He is.
So, be aware
Can't
that...
hear my eyes narrowing, but my eyes are narrowing.
Okay, I'll envision that. So be aware that there will be a much larger update to the rules coming when Set 7 is released sometime next month. With that in mind, there is one change in particular I'd like to talk about, and maybe others have spotted things, and that is that after...
Problems do not have traits.
Yes, problems don't have traits. Damn it.
This is important. Yeah, this is important because otherwise dilemmas wouldn't work.
Yes. So
Well,
problems...
problems now can have.
Yeah, problems now can have traits.
Yes.
Including unique, for those of you keeping track.
Yes.
Rules pending on that. So
Rules pending.
Yes.
Well, yeah, see, so this is what I was talking about. They're sitting there, we come up with some stupid idea, and then they're like, I see what you did there.
Yes.
You're assuming that's how the timing of this worked. That's totally how the timing of this worked. So things will be cleared up here soon when you have questions. Speaking of things being cleared up, did you know there's a card that actually functions within the rules now?
Really? Tell me what card this is.
Cleaning things up?
No. Cleaning things up is still completely busted. But it is in the same color. We're talking about my favorite would-be counterspell, Wake Up Call. Wake Up Call now actually has timing, or more specifically, we have timing for as a card is played, which will cause effects to resolve and process. So that means there is now a specific timing for when Wake Up Call's effect will take place. Make sure you check out the comprehensive rules to see that.
Yeah, this also applies to Queen Chrysalis, Identity Theft, and
Octavia
Harsh Judge, though less so because they already worked in the previous rules.
Right. Because we had rules for as a card enters play.
Right.
Now this will affect mostly events and other temporary cards.
Yeah.
Right.
For most players, this is not exactly relevant. It's just that for the rules lawyers amongst us, we now have a codified place where Wake Up Call actually takes effect. So it's not just Facebook errata anymore.
Correct.
Any other rules changes people would like to highlight?
They changed numbers.
It's probably important to mention. I guess we casually mentioned it before, but uh, non-characters that exist in a location that does not exist are dismissed by the game. So if you somehow have a troublemaker at a problem, or no, if you have a face-down troublemaker at a dilemma that is solved, it will be dismissed. And characters that exist in a location that no longer exists are immediately sent to that character's owner's home.
Controller.
Controller, yes.
This does actually matter sometimes.
Yes, it does. But yeah, the important one there was the troublemaker, the face-down troublemakers, so we don't have them existing in limbo after a dilemma is solved. They do in fact go to the discard, face up, and so on and so forth. I believe that is currently the only way to dismiss a face-down troublemaker.
But I wanted to have a yellow parasprite floating somewhere where you couldn't get at it.
No, God, no.
But.
God, no, why?
This is why we had to introduce the rule to make Stephen Magnet not stupid.
Yes.
For those unaware, Stephen Magnet doesn't... The white friend that has vexing, and when this card leaves play, you may move a troublemaker. He doesn't specify where to move it to, but the rules specify that you can't move troublemakers home unless something would contradict that rule, basically. So you can't use Stephen Magnet to move your yellow parasprites home where no one can touch them.
Well, they could still epic win
So
them.
far, the only troublemaker that can exist at home is, of course, Princess Mi Amore Cadenza.
That's Princess. PhD.
And we love her for it.
Mm-hmm.
Only because she's actually Queen Chrysalis. Shh. There are no changelings here.
What? Changelings?
What? No, I don't know anything about changelings.
Bugle, I believe you're still here.
We're having fun with our... Oh, evidently he isn't. Okay, Bugle's having streaming issues.
I'm sure he'll be back soon.
Take a short moment to poke at this. Let's see, what else do we have here? Questions in the chat?
Yeah, while we're waiting for Bugle to get back, does anyone have any questions on what we've covered so far? I know it's been a lot of information, and we're getting closer towards the end of the stream, but we'd like to open up the opportunity for people in chat to ask any questions or share some of their thoughts. Don't be shy. Just make sure you start your question with "Dear Commentary is Magic," or "Dear Princess Commentary is Magic."
Okay, so let's take this top one here. What exactly is the issue with dilemmas having unique beyond not being able to play more than one of the same dilemma? So basically the rules around unique are such that if you had two dilemmas with the same name in play, there is a card. I forget what he's called. His subtitle is, but it's
Trailblazer.
There we go. Trailblazer. Grants unique to all cards in play. Now, dilemmas are in play, and if two of them have the same name, one of them is going to have to go away.
Only if they are both controlled by the same person.
Only if they're both controlled by the same person. This, as it turns out, this isn't a problem for regular problems, because each player only controls one of them. And evidently this was something that didn't come up in playtesting. So Bugle was sitting there and mentions this, and then, well, there's a screenshot on Reddit of the aftermath.
Silliness.
Don't worry. We will make sure there is an answer for this in the updated version to the comprehensive rules.
Yeah, they've still got 2 months, give or take.
No, it's about a month.
Yeah.
It's in May. It's a little over.
Don't worry about it. They got it covered. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Skitterbeat, is Wake Up Call going to open a priority window? I do not believe the wording is for Wake Up Call to open a priority window. There is simply...
okay. Sorry. Skitterbeat's one of my local players, so I actually know what he's going on about here.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Skitter just loves playing white and causing the most interesting game states. there's been a question at the local playgroup a couple of times where someone has had wake up call out, but has also had several stacks of suitcases out. The question is basically, if a card gets canceled, does it still trigger stack of suitcases? I believe the snap ruling that I gave for this was it does not, because the resolution shuts down just after costs are paid, and thus the card would not have triggered the on-play effects.
I'm going to tentatively agree with you on that, without having the full comp rules in front of me right now. But from my understanding of how cards are played and when things that happen when a card is played trigger, I believe that is correct.
The more relevant one I can think of right now is I have the mayor that banishes a resource.
And you play an event.
And I play an event and you have wake up call. Do I still get to banish a resource? And it sounds like the answer is no.
It's a very similar situation. It's a on-play trigger versus the concept of a cancel.
Right. Yes, in theory, one of the dilemmas, if they are both the same name and controlled by the same player, would be removed due to uniqueness violation, and we'll make sure there's an update to cover that, Jorlin.
You actually don't need to. That's already codified in the uniqueness rules.
Oh, awesome, cool.
You know, that is, yeah. I think everything is actually covered because the uniqueness says one of them has to go away, and then there's a rule saying that anything that exists in a space that it's not supposed to, that's already handled as well. So I think you're actually covered.
Okay.
But it was funny for a few seconds there when we didn't know these new changes.
Right.
Yes. We'll skip ahead real quick to address that one.
Yeah, he got it. You're correct. Thank you, Cheese, for answering that. And thank you, Cursed Chords, and thank you, RNI.
Yeah. The question for those of you who are not in chat is, can you trash a dilemma? The answer is no. It is not a resource while it is in play. So you cannot bewitched beavers them, or trash them, or rest in pieces them, or any of this nonsense.
You can since it snails them, however.
You can.
I'm mildly sad about that, though. It would have been funny, which is why we can't do it.
Fire When Ready is going to be very funny as multiple players are playing dilemmas now.
Yes, it is.
Kill everything.
Yay!
Yeah. Let's skipping back up here. Toon Boy, do you think these changes will lead to a more diverse field at Gen Con? Well, there's more than, 2 mains in top 16?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think this
I
does...
don't know that these changes will do that, but I think changes overall to the game over the past year will do that.
Yeah, and we're really just going to have to see the new set.
That's true.
Yeah, or whatever. I don't know if we're going to get 2 more sets before Gen Con.
Just one.
Just one? Yeah.
Unless we get a mini set. Sands of Time.
Yeah, where is our Sands of Time?
Rock and Rage
Where's
Part
my
2, DJ's back forever.
I don't...
Yes, just don't... Interplay, don't release it 2 weeks before.
Well, I don't know. We already know what the mains are. Both the mains are not going to be played at Gen Con. So.
That is fair. Well, we think.
They might be played. I think the Paradox... I think people underestimate the Paradox Pony.
I like Twilight. I like Twilight a lot more when Read the Manual didn't banish itself.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well,
what do you mean? You're welcome. 3 of us instantly went and built that deck. Or are you saying you're welcome to the chat?
Yes.
There we go. You're welcome, chat. That was dumb.
That's one of those cards that even outside, I'm not a playtester. I looked at that and I went, that didn't have banish this card on it at one point, did it?
Nope.
Yeah. That
was a card.
That was a monster.
It was really good when it only cost 2.
Oh, dear God. I didn't know about that one. Ugh.
No. I mean, because of Princess... Or not Princess. Twilight Element of Magic.
Yeah. Yes.
There were about 5 different ways that you could just recur that for infinite AT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of which were far more convoluted than others. Toon, to expand on your question about do we think it'll lead to a more diverse field like different mains in top 16, I think the answer is definitely yes. in addition to the other cards, like you said, people have already brought up, many players have already brought up that Rarity Ambassador of Generosity all of a sudden becomes much better as a potential early flip for white, as you're not running into the situation of your opponent having 2 points and getting 3 AT per turn while you have to just let them try to gain that lead. Now they can just gain a single point for confronting, and you can then flip, be at 2 points, and have point advantage.
And the showy is going to be more relevant in this format, I believe.
Unfortunately, there is a downside of this. Those of you that remember Dazzling Fashionista, well, she just got a lot harder to flip.
Oh yeah.
Yes, she did.
I'm not sure if she's down at party animal level, but
to flip, I honestly think party animal is easier to flip.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch. Okay. Wow. Wow.
So we had another question here. How does Goof Off text interact with dilemmas? This card's owner may exhaust their main character, add a problem to look at the top card and stack them back and bottom of the deck.
Simply, dilemmas are not part of a problem deck. There's no deck there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can exhaust your main there for no benefit during the main phase.
Correct.
That is how they interact.
Wait, Goof Off has always been a problem? I thought it was this problem.
Nope, it has always been a problem. And Bugle,
Yeah, it is a problem. Yeah.
Bugle, to clarify, Goof Off does not specify main phase. It actually has no timing.
Is that still not in the OCR?
I don't know. Let me look.
I had assumed it had been put into the OCR by now. Because otherwise it just doesn't work.
Well, it does. It just... You have to do it.
That is a continuous modifier.
So you can do it during any phase, or does it just not work?
You can do it during any phase.
No, it just does not work because it is an act. It's supposed to be.
Depends upon how you interpret it. It's not really well defined.
Yeah.
Rules team, help!
No, I like that card. Goof Off is fine. Fire when ready, or not fire when ready. I need answers is fine. Don't worry, guys. No. It's fine.
So you're going to unban Rainbow Shine, right?
I will die on this hill for I need answers. I make my stand here.
You will die.
I know. I know. It will leave.
Answers.
It will leave eventually, I'm sure.
Yes.
I don't know.
It needed to be a starting problem.
Yeah. Can I get some power level rat up in here?
No.
I make my stand on this hill.
Yeah. To clarify this, I'm pretty sure that Goof Off has come up at some point, and I suspect that a developer has given a answer to this. The original question, though, no, you cannot use this with dilemmas.
No, you can't. You just exhaust your main and nothing happens.
Yeah, it ends up not doing anything useful.
Right.
Well,
unless
you may pay the cost of using Goof Off's ability and gain no effect from it.
Yes.
If you really want to, you can try to rules layer it into looking at the top card of your draw deck, but good luck with that one.
No, stop it.
You're welcome.
No. Regardless, I will also take a look at Goof Off as well and see if that has not been updated in the OCR. Let's go back to chat. Chat, do we have any more questions here? We're coming up towards the end of the stream. We've got a few special announcements for people, but I'd like to see if anyone else has any thoughts or concerns or comments.
Well, while we wait for more questions, we could bring up some cards that... we already brought up some, but we could bring up some cards that benefit from these changes and some cards that get hurt by these changes. For example, Snips and Snails Problem Solvers got hurt. Now, it's useful against dilemmas. I'm not going to deny that fact, but it's no longer useful for helping you accelerate into more points.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a huge... Because I used to consider... so before, I kind of consider Snips and Snails to be a much more expensive RTO.
Yes.
And... now, like that ability just gets completely taken away. I think this actually really hurts Snips and Snails.
It does hurt Snips and Snails, but it's still a TM buster. It's still 3 power for 2 cost. It still sends everything home, which is going to be more relevant in this face-off era, I think. And it does destroy dilemmas. So it might not necessarily be an auto-include in all of your pink aggro decks anymore, but I think it will still be a consideration.
Well, I think there's certain kinds of aggro decks that can use this to great effect. As you said, this effectively removes characters at a problem from play for 2AT.
Right.
So if you're confronting a dilemma and some other problem, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's going to swing the face-off in your favor.
That is a good point. Especially if your opponent might be playing higher point problems in their deck, but they're still on a starting problem, and you're already out with a dilemma. Like there's
Yeah, now that would actually be a tech play. You're confronting a dilemma and another problem, or you're about to when you go to score phase. They're confronting their problem. You snails their problem into a 3-point problem, while the dilemma and your problem were both 1-point problems, and now suddenly mass shenanigans.
Yep. I think Sips and Snails did lose a little bit of utility, but I think he had enough to be able to spare and still see play.
Oh, yeah. He was
I think I'll still
easily
see
one of the
play,
best
but-
cards in the game.
It goes from an auto-include in every pink deck full stop to...
A consideration.
You should definitely think about putting that in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So another card that got worse, and this is actually a problem, is what is that card? Wonderbolt's exam, the Wonderbolt's reserve exam.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
The major draw there was, oh hey, it's 0 bonus, so they're not getting the confront bonus. It's like, oh well, they're not going to get that anyway. Oh, and they can pay 3 to score 2 points.
Oh
So it's-
crap, that's actually like good now, kind of.
Yeah, so now you might actually see it as a way of point accelerating yourself if you can prevent the opponent from confronting it, but it's not going to be a good way to decrease the opponent's points.
I think there are problems people will be able to look at from older sets, especially Premier, like I said. Kitchen en Flambe and Want It, Need It immediately come to mind as things that I expect to see far more play than they have in the last year or so.
Yeah, for a very long time, running 3 bonus problems has been a death sentence.
Except in white-pink.
Even then.
Well, to be fair, I was playing a game against a white-pink player using something very heavily based on one of your decks with Bluna aggro. That did not end well for them.
Interesting, because it usually ends well for me when I play against Blono. As long as I can flip Tavi. If they play Glimmer to my problem, then yes, I lose.
There was also that, yes. The Tavi did not flip fast enough. But this definitely opens that up because you're no longer in a situation where you look at a problem and just go, that has a bonus that's not 1, not even looking at it.
I think we might...
Or 0.
I think we might see an opportunity for yellow to rise up a bit here, since we're not so worried about blue's blowout DFO on turn 2 getting 1 billion points, and with Kratos actually fitting in nicely to that strategy.
Yeah, Kratos is actually very, very relevant at this point because anything that can accelerate your point gain over time like that is going to be useful. And the major reason he wasn't terribly useful before is because he was just too slow for the blowout strategies. But now that won't quite be as blowouty, so Kratos might find a home.
Darling, you rang? My wings are simply fabulous.
Jorlum asks a question, just a general question regarding rules, which is completely fine. And that's if Hoity-Toity Discerning Eye, who I believe is the orange-white friend from High Magic, banishes itself if it is dismissed. And my understanding of the rules is that his continuous modifier ceases to exist upon him leaving play, and it would present a triggered ability, or it would create a triggered modifier. And so, no, he does not banish himself upon leaving play, which is a different reaction than what would happen with a card like Rest in Pieces in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
and a lot of that has to do with MLP not having a stack, really.
Yeah. Now, if you have two hoity-toities, then one will be banished.
Yes.
Well, that's
Unless they
just
both
silly.
are dismissed at the same time, in which case neither
Yeah,
will be banished.
simultaneous. There's
I'm
simultaneous. I don't know. I hate.
You have to party
like,
bomb. Party bomb would do it.
Simultaneous is stupid.
Yeah, that causes
breaks
problems.
There's the cheese we know and love.
As it turns out, there's a relatively fine distinction. Rules lawyers perk up, I guess, about exactly how something leaves play. There's a pair of sections in the rules about how things act when things both enter play and when things move. And given this particular situation, something roughly equivalent for leaving play would need to be presented in order to give a concrete ruling on this. Given how we think this resolves, there's a little bit of not exactly science you can do here, but you can kind of get an idea of how this probably is supposed to work. Unfortunately, I had notes on this, but I have no idea where I put them.
Yeah, that's all right. We weren't planning on making it part of the stream.
Spike!
Does
Find my notes!
Does Twilight need to give a lecture?
No, Twilight does not need to give a lecture.
I
Spike
don't
needs
know.
to find Twilight's notes.
I think Twilight needs to give a lecture.
Oh darn. Twilight might need to give a lecture.
Just follow the list. We saw how well that worked for everyone else.
Triple check the
Speaking
checklist.
of the most important change, at least to me, is like half of my blog is now giving advice for a strategy that no longer exists.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
had some
sorry.
fun with this one myself. Twilectures is my thing that I started up around the same time that Bugle put Cafe up. I let mine die because I don't have enough time to maintain it properly, but there were several things that I had to just completely rip up and go, nope, that doesn't work anymore. Nope.
Yeah.
All shall be destroyed.
They are going to have a fit at some point, specifically Cloud Chaser.
Oh, she is going to have a fit.
But it'll all be in good fun, and they'll get used to it. But yes, things will be a little bit... my empire is crumbling.
Heads up, Better Pony emotes. We're looking for Cloud Chaser in conniptions if you can do that. Well, I think with that, we'll make some announcements here towards the end and then probably try to wrap things up this evening. As everyone who has joined us knows, Set 7 is just around the corner here, not too far out. We're looking at May, which is just next month. And there have already been a few cards, these dilemmas, and a few other things that have been leaked so far. They've been spoiled
Pink
by
pie.
Interplay. I shouldn't say leaked, I should say spoiled.
Yes, there's a huge difference.
Yes.
Spoiled is correct.
Yes.
One of them gets a big article about an IP theft written. The other one is players going, "Ee, look at those."
I was going to say one of them gets the entire Southwest region banned, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah, there's that.
Or sorry, Southeast region. Anyway, we...
That's Glam.
Yes. We will probably be having a stream at some point here in the next few weeks, discussing more about Set 7 as more information becomes available. So make sure you watch on subreddit or on Hey Canterlot to be able to get our timing for that. We'll try to do it earlier like we've been doing with these last few streams, and we'll try to keep things relatively on pace. And everyone can still probably look forward to 3 hours of set review when that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I
love those.
I need some caffeine. So
You're gonna need a lot more in caffeine.
yes, I will. But we don't talk about those substances on streams. It's love.
Well, it really depends on whether or not the lot of us spot something while we're going through and are just like, hey.
That is a good point. That is true. But make sure...
We are why he drinks.
Yes. make sure you do watch for our upcoming stream and bugle to that question now. We also have our videos now on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen that, but we have a YouTube channel. I discovered the error with trying to upload previous videos was it was uploading to a completely different YouTube account, but we are now there. Yes, sorry about that. We are now there. Commentary is Magic on YouTube. Go ahead and check us out. We've got our videos from some of the regional events that have been held in Fresno and also held in Santa Clara. And we will have more to come, I believe. Planning on a stream for future conventions, yes?
Yes, for Babs, hopefully we'll have something. I will unfortunately be unable to attend BabsCon. I had been hoping to go, but I won't be able to. However, this is good news for all of you because there should be a streamed event, and I should be able to commentate on that. So, fun.
Yeah, and we'll hopefully get some other commentator or commentators in there as well. Just to
Yeah, maybe Feathers will come back.
Yeah, Feathers did a good job.
Maybe.
Toon Boy, to answer your question as to whether or not the YouTube channel will turn into a podcast type thing, that's really up to what people want to see. We've always said if you have any feedback or suggestions to post them through an email message at commentaryismagicteam@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to respond to those and take those into consideration. So please go ahead and send us your feedback there, or when this video goes up on YouTube, now you can actually just reply in the comments section. Please don't make YouTube-style comments. We'll add the email address to chat as well.
Yeah.
So we also have, I was going to say, Everfree coming up.
Everfree is also coming up. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if Everfree is going to be able to run a stream, but if it is, you know where it's going to be.
Right here where it always is.
Unfortunately for that one, we may not have commentators because there is a possibility that the vast majority of us will show up to that in person.
Don't worry, I unfortunately am not going to be able to attend due to its time frame next to BabsCon. But hey, that means you have a commentator.
Yeah.
Well then.
I won't be there, but I also won't be able to commentate. So.
Yeah, so this one might get a little interesting. Part of the reason is Big Cheese normally brings his streaming hardware to take this.
I'm going to be
I don't
in
really
Aspen.
know if I'm going to have to be. I don't know if I can do this myself, but we'll see.
We'll do our best.
Well, we've got about 5 minutes left, so let's speculate on the single most important thing about Set 7. Which ponies are getting Philly cards?
Yes. Yes.
Well, if we're getting Philly cards, obviously we're going to have the main 6 cycle.
Right.
Philly
we already
cycle.
have Pinky, so it's probably going to be all 6.
So, okay, so given that Pinky's an ultra rare, do we think they're going to be an ultra rare Philly cycle?
I hope so. That'd be cool. But yeah.
I actually have not seen this Pinky card.
Oh.
It's the one that has interactions with friends with power 1.
Yeah. She's interesting, but you can look at her later. But yeah, so one of the big scenes, aside from the main 6 scenes, is Pinky's birthday party, the cheese sandwich flashback. And there are a lot of ponies there who have Philly farms, including Cloud
Your
Chaser
2 favorite
Flitter.
card Pegasi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am sincerely hoping we get Philly versions of them. We already have Philly Coloratura and Philly, let's see, what is the correct word to use? Muffins. Yes, everyone loves calling them muffins.
Yes.
So we've got a couple more of them that I want to just try and crush here. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, there's a Philly Rainbow Shine in that scene.
This could be okay. We might also see a Philly Glim Glam.
Yeah.
There is a remote possibility that we will see a Philly Coco Pamel, but no, that's not going to happen.
That would be adorable.
Uh, so we might see Philly versions of Twilight's friends, Minuet, and
Oh, you're just saying this because you want to see Beaker Hearts.
I do want to see Beaker Hearts. Everyone wants to see Beaker
Oh
Hearts as a card.
my god.
Beaker Hearts is one of the best things
No.
in the entire show.
I wouldn't,
No.
No.
Beaker Hearts.
I wouldn't mind seeing Sunburst. Sunburst would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's no way that there's going to be a Sunburst card. There's no way. There's going to be
Philly Celestia, Philly Luna, maybe?
one.
Oh, I don't know. Have we actually seen those canon?
No. We also haven't seen Nightmare Star.
Oh, that's true.
Ooh, Philly Taco Tuesday. Make this happen.
Technically, since we do have art that is not straight from the show, we could see Philly just about anyone. Philly Queen Chrysalis as a little bug.
Oh god, that'd be adorable. Beaker Hearts is from Amending Fences, where
Yes,
Lemonheart gets
Lemonhearts.
her head stuck in a beaker.
She gets her head stuck in a beaker and is running around with an amazing expression.
I'm going
And Minuet and
Moondancer, probably.
yeah, no,
No, it's not Moondancer. It's
it was Lyra.
Is it? Yeah, it's Lyra.
Minuet and Lyra were laughing at her.
I remember this. I remember this now.
I wish to pull my Twilight Wings out here and be like, that is not a beaker, it is an Erlenmeyer flask.
Cursed Chords got it!
I believe, though, that they said beaker. I believe.
Well, guess what? The show's wrong. It's an Erlenmeyer flask. Nah.
Erlenmeyer?
Sure.
Erlenmeyer flask?
Oh, you.
Ah?
Yeah, okay, so they did say beaker. Hooray.
Okay.
Well, they're wrong. Oh well.
Yeah.
Twilight
Phillies.
was better.
Phillies everywhere. Diamond Tiara Troublemaker, new meta.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Diamond
yeah.
Tiara Troublemaker.
I want to see a Silver Spoon Troublemaker. I also want to see a Diamond Tiara friend. I want to see a Diamond Tiara main.
Do we not have a Diamond Tiara friend yet?
Oh, we do,
We
I
do.
guess.
We
don't have a good one, though.
We have the purple-pink one.
Well, we don't have good friends of most characters.
This is
I
true.
know. We don't have a Silver Spoon card at all, though.
Yeah, we could use a Silver Spoon card. Now would be a good time to show it.
I don't know. I think I'd prefer to see another Luna main first.
Oh, why would you wish this on us? I mean, praise the moon.
I want to see a President Pip card.
That'd be fun. And timely, even.
Yes,
What
it
if we'll do
would.
that?
I heard he's going to build a wall around the Everfree Forest and make the Timberwolves pay for it.
Oh, God.
Oh,
No.
wow.
No.
Okay. Ease off the political.
Okay.
I don't know. Are there any other Phillies that don't have cards? That
I don't know. We just all of them. Just all of them.
Philly, all the things.
Yes. Philly discard. Make this happen.
I mean, his Earth Pony form was pretty small. Yeah, we'll see.
And of course, the thing that will never happen, Philly Flufflepuff.
So perfect.
We can all wish. We can all wish hard. And we can also all try to throw ourselves at top 16 at Gen Con and then try to get that card made.
Oh, that will be my first
Yeah, good luck.
request.
Is Flufflepuff?
I know it will be.
Flufflepuff. That's going to get shot down so fast.
I know, but it's like I've said that since
A good Celestia main
the
would be
first Gen
nice.
Con.
A better Princess Cadence main would also be nice.
Another Luna main.
Don't we already have enough Luna mains? I think doesn't she
We
have
have-
the most?
I
She
don't
has
know.
more
Are we?
mains than anyone except technically Twilight, but no one has Paradox ponies, so that doesn't count.
One person has Paradox Pony, I believe.
One person.
Yeah,
Yes.
one person.
Yes.
And if you want to count Nightmare Moon as Luna, then she is uncontested most.
Cursed Chords, no. We cannot get a good Celestia main for once. Princess Luna for life. More
Bring
I
Luna
it
think
mains.
in.
Celestia is just required to have bad mains.
Well, maybe if they quit printing her in yellow.
Rambleshine main?
Yellow's getting better. We'll see. We'll have to see.
Nah, no, I
Right.
don't even need Rainbow Shine main. I just
Do
want
we
another
have-
Rainbow Shine card.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was about to say, have we gotten a replacement Rainbow Shine?
No.
But like I said, Philly Rainbow Shine is in that scene. The cheese sandwich scene.
That's true. She could be there.
Rob,
So Philly Rainbow Shine.
Rob, please.
How about a Big Mac main?
Huh.
I'd go for that.
Might be
I think we've
interesting.
more or less been confirmed there are only 4 mains in the next set, unfortunately.
Oh yeah,
Well,
but
let's see. So given, well, no, we actually know this. The 3 of them are going to be individual Cutie Mark Crusaders cards. So all of you that have been waiting for that Scootaloo main, there you go.
Sweetie
First-
Belle main.
she's gonna
Yeah,
be
Sweetie
red.
Belle main.
She'll be red. New colors. New colors introduced, everyone.
Yeah, Sweetie Belle. As for the 4th main, well, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, what do we need?
No,
We
they
need,
said
like,
there's going to be a
red
Starlight
and
Glimmer
green
main.
and
Oh, it was confirmed to be Gun Glam. Well,
Yes.
there we go. Unicorns OP.
Unicorn OP, yeah. All right, everyone. Well, I think that brings us close to time here. So, as always, thank you for joining us for this stream. We really appreciate it. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, feedback, please feel free to send that to commentaryismagicteam@gmail.com. We'll add that to the chat again. You can also leave us a comment on the video when it's uploaded to YouTube here in the next day or so. But as always, thank you for joining us, and I am Grandpaws.
I am the unfortunately allergy-ridden Emperor Bugle.
big cheese.
And the still angry Aracat.